Why do you need a boat? That's probably the question that I get asked more than any other question. And the most, a boat is just simply a toy. But when you come here to the islands, you realize quickly that a boat is far more than a toy. It's a tool. 13 years ago is the first time that I came here to St. Vincent of the Grenadines. Even though I was only here for a week, God did something in my heart. I came back and worked with a missionary for 6 months. After my wife and I were married, we took a day and traveled to the island of Canawan. There, as we walked around, God began to burden my heart to see churches planted on the island of Bequia, Canawan, Mayro, and Union. We came back to the U.S., started deputation, raised all of our support, and moved to the island of Bequia, where we've started the Bible Baptist Church here in Paget Farm, Bequia. But our vision to see churches planted on Canawan, Mayro, and Union has never diminished. We labored here, continuing to pray and waiting on God's direction concerning the islands and the boat ministry. A few years ago, the island of Dominica was hit by a hurricane. We quickly loaded up a bunch of supplies and food and traveled up to help some churches. And as we were sailing back with one of the families that had lost everything, I remember sitting on that boat thinking and praying that God would allow us to have a boat of our own, that we could do ministries like this, but also be able to reach out to the islands that are around us with the gospel. About 2 years ago, we began asking our churches and our friends to help us pray about the boat ministry. The ministry would begin here on the island of Bequia. We would continue our work here, continuing to plant the Bible Baptist Church here in Paget Farm. But on a weekly basis, we would get up on a Monday morning, we would take the boat and we would travel to one of the other islands, maybe Canawan or Union, and we would spend the day there working and discipling. We would then sleep on the boat, and overnight we would travel the next morning and head to the next island and do work and ministry there, and then on to the next island. And then follow up, we would be coming back to the island of Bequia to continue working here. About a month ago, I was contacted by a man that had a 2013 Aguila 38. It's a 38-foot power catamaran that can sleep 6. Has bathroom, generator, kitchen, and with its two 110 horsepower Yanmar diesel engines, we can travel roughly 700 miles at 8 knots before needing any more fuel. This boat values around $200,000, but the owner reduced the price and offered it to us at just $130,000. So far, God has sent in $75,000 for this boat. The owner has promised to hold the boat until December. He asked us to meet him the first week of December, and by faith, we are planning to meet with him and buy the boat when we are there. I know that $55,000 is a lot of money, and 3 weeks is a short amount of time, but I have no doubt that God can send it in. Will you pray what God would have you to do? Will you help us as we begin to reach these islands with the gospel? We've had children give pennies, dimes, and nickels. I've seen widows give $5, Sunday schools and churches sacrificially give for the boat. I've even seen prisoners that have given money each month. And just this month, we had a young lady from one of our supporting churches that made and sold cookies and raised over $700 for the boat. I can honestly say I don't have any big investors, no big bank accounts, but I do have a big God. And I've seen God do great things for His church in the past, and I believe that God will do it again. On January 17, 1865, missionary John Patton first saw the ship that would be used to reach thousands with the gospel in the New Hebrides Islands. He said this when he saw the boat: "It's a thing of beauty, a white-winged angel set afloating by the pennies of the children, to bear the gospel to these sin-darkened but sunlit southern isles." Friend, will you help us with the boat ministry?